Marsh, and today I just want to talk about how I'm using the RAM River Auto river material asset. Allows you to generate rivers, and here I've got this terrain, and it's quite kind of lumpy terrain, so I haven't done anything to make this terrain nice and smooth for the river, but looking at some old maps, it appears that this is where the actual river starts, or little stream starts. It kind of follows this line, and then there's a bit of an Ordnance Survey overlay showing me kind of where the bulk of the river starts. So it seems to be following down this little bits of terrain here, and then properly into this kind of gully, and then it will join up with another river that I've already generated. So I'm not an expert on this, so this is just how I've decided to try and tackle this. So the first thing you have to do is come in here and create a river. So create a river spline. Now I'm going to go for a particular sort of profile here. I'm going to go for a stream. So I'll call it a stream. Oops. And the basic size I want to be quite small, so I'm going to make this just a 3. Go to terrain and make sure that the layer is set to the same as the Unity terrain object, so to default. I get rid of the smooth distance, and I only have a distance of 1, so this is basically the area around the river that's going to get carved out, and I like to add a bit of noise on the outside of it, and I'll show you what that looks like. So we come to the start of the river, and add a point is Control left mouse click. So what I want to try and do is follow the terrain as much as I can, so getting quite close. Control clicking. What I want to try and do is find the depths rather than the peaks. So I'm clicking here, it's using a kind of ray cast when I click. So I'm trying to pick out these holes. This is where it gets difficult, is where we lose the terrain. So I'm kind of having to guess a little bit. Just put one in there. And we get to the top of the main bit of the stream. Just get a bit of an idea where it's going. I think it's sort of following it down here, and I think it's going to take a right hand turn here. Which way is it going to go? I think maybe actually follow that route to there. To there. So I'll just quickly add some more points in where we get these difficult structures. Maybe add a few more points just to get these bends in. Now here's a difficult one because the ground is above where that point is, and I'm going to want the water to cut in here really. So I'm going to skip straight over that one to force it to cut down, and maybe I'll add a point later. Again here where we've got a sort of bridging bit, I don't want to go over the top of that, I want to go through it. So we put a slightly lower point either side of it. And we'll carry on down here and probably about there. And it's going to try and go uphill, so we don't want that again. So I'm going to cut through to about here. So that's my initial set of points, and then what we do is go to terrain and say show terrain type. Now we can sort of see what's going to happen. and immediately we can see we're trying to travel uphill here, so this doesn't look good. So we go to the selector tool, can bring that down. Unfortunately, it's not very dynamic, you have to keep prompting it. And really it's going to be this point. So what I might actually do is raise this up to about here. Maybe raise that point up to meet it. Move this down a bit. So I'm just trying to smooth this out. Move that back a bit, we'll stretch that line out a bit more. Yes, that's kind of smoothed that off. That's what I'm aiming at. So just follow the river back up a bit. Anything that looks particularly weird. I think that looks not so bad. Now we can see that it's cutting in here, but not too much. That's fine. Follow that river around. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. That's not too bad. If there were really big chunks being taken out, I might look to move the points to try and stop the cutting being so deep. But actually that doesn't look too bad. So we'll use that as our first cut. So we press carve, wait a few seconds, and that's carved it in. And now normally you just have to move the river up slightly, so probably let's say 0.25, maybe 0.2, 0.23, yeah. Okay, so we can follow the water down. Now you can see we get these artifacts where it's cut into the terrain and it looks a bit weird. So we'll go to the terrain, get the terrain tools out and put smooth on. Just tidy that up. And we follow, and what we're doing here, or what I'm doing here, is I'm looking for anything that looks particularly odd when it's done its carving. So again, these chunky hill bits, a bit weird. Smooth those off. I'm looking for any holes either side that the water would normally fall into. Making sure that those holes aren't there. Smooth those off. Now here's a hole. Probably get away with smoothing that. Sometimes you have to build it up using the terrain tools, and sometimes you can just sort of smooth it off, and the smoothing will bring a more natural look. Yeah, not too worried about that little well, that's fine. Smooth it off. Smooth, smooth, smooth. Getting a bit jaggedy along there. And with the smooth tool, you can also add a bit of extra kind of realism to the water by adding little bits of just taking that kind of straight line off. the water, which is quite nice. That's fine, I don't mind. Oh, this is a big hole. Don't like that, so we can just move that. Take these edges off again. Generally, it's a pretty good one, this one. Oh, out of the box. Now, this bit here, the tangent's gone a bit funky. And also this bit here, so I probably want to use the smooth tool, see if that will fix it. And it's really not doing a good job. So we come to the set height and we'll go for the lower water. So grab the height from there, and then you can kind of paint that height back in. And this bit here is, I'm going to need to raise that, I think. So I'll grab the height from here and we'll build that up. So get a bit of a ridge in there. That's quite nice. That works. Again, just carry on following the river around. Whoops. Hope you don't feel too sick watching this. That's okay. Yeah, don't mind that too much. It's a bit Minecrafty. Let's smooth that off. All the way along there. Yeah, this probably needs to be built up. It's looking a bit funky. I'll get away with it. River's flowing down there, is that okay? Slightly odd. Oops. Let's have a look at that. These points. It's a bit better. Maybe even move that over a bit. No. Added another point in there. Not sure. 23, 24, 25. Just unfold that. Go back to the terrain. Smooth it in a bit. Get rid of these chunky bits again. Smooth those off. Very typical kind of work here, just getting rid of these really chiseled out bits. Okay, so this is a bit of a problem. We've got a kind of strange ridge that's grown up here. I'll try the smoothing tool, but I don't think it's going to work. No. So what I'll have to do here is go to the set height, and we'll grab a height from, let's say, about there. And we'll start building. Be quite rough about it. Start. Oh, that's gone a bit mad. Start building the terrain up. All I want is the height. I'm not really interested in how good the terrain looks in of itself, because I'll sort that out with the smoothing tool. Again, just building up the area around it. And then we can come in with the smoothing tool again. And bring this, make this a bit more realistic. Really chop that one down. There we go. Just kind of wiggling the mouse around over this to get the smoothing. Yeah. Not too bad for a programmer. Right, so I've obviously broken that bit there. So what we can do is I can try and smooth it off, but I don't think it's going to work. So we go back to set height again. We take a bit of the river, and then we can just, no, it's too high. Let's take that bit. That's better. And we just take a chunk out of that, go back to the smoothing tool, just smooth the edge off. There we go. One reasonably okay river cut through a terrain that wasn't particularly that river friendly. Have I done a paint yet? I haven't set up the painting to be of a really good quality, but let's just do a quick paint. Paint terrain. There we go, just adds a bit of sand and stuff. A bit of rocky area. Yeah, it's not too bad. You can spend as much time as you want adding more things in, and be adding vegetation and things like that later. And obviously getting rid of this really funky Ordnance Survey colour coding to make it look a little bit more realistic. Or hopefully a lot more realistic. Okay, thanks.